All right, Adam, where are you? You're not still out getting a beer, are you? All right. Here we go, 21st century student.
All right, guys. So I'm here today to talk about the 21st century student and how that student is rapidly changing because of a couple of things. Primarily technology, a changing society, but quite frankly, because this is kind of like most of us. We just want to create a little bit of mischief. So what do I mean when I say education, that this student is being a part of? Bueller. When I say education, I mean just as much a student sitting in front of a teacher or professor in a classroom in academia, as much as I mean you guys at home, sitting in your underwear at a computer, not doing anything bad, but maybe looking at a YouTube video. So the interesting thing about that is that education can go across multiple mediums, not just in a school. Ideas, as an evolution, reflect education. We build ideas on one another in sequence. And again, this can go in multiple mediums. I thought this was a pretty good example. It's been happening since the Stone Age. I thought it was really funny last night when I was drunk putting the slideshow together. Sorry, Joe. Anyway, the cool thing is that education can go across multiple mediums, whether it's products or arts or architecture, but it actually started as law school. So the first schools in the world were actually law schools. Sorry, attorneys. Basically, churches thought that they would be valuable to protect themselves against invading empires. So they created law schools and they taught students. Fast forward a few hundred years, and during the Renaissance, they started to separate the content that they taught in schools from the delivery of that content. I like this picture of the printing press too. So art or architecture and the medium that it was conveyed changed. So you could operate each one independently. Fast forward another few hundred years, and we now have universities. The platform exists as a campus or a school, and the content exists as majors. So anybody here can study anything you want, from art, architecture, or sex education. The way that this happens is that there's information somewhere in the universe, and then there's an expert in the field, whether it's a teacher or a professor. They collect that information, and then they distill it down so that they can explain it to someone and teach them. That student takes the information, and then each generation, it compounds, and the generation is better than the one before. This worked incredibly for generations, for hundreds of years, up until now. And then a couple of things started to change, and the problem that happened was really based off of technology. What happened for the first time was that content was being created quicker than we could learn it and convey that content. So it used to take generations, now it takes seconds. And you can access practically any amount of information. You can connect with anyone within seconds. So this is the 21st century student. In their hands, they hold the power to access any information they like. They can connect to practically anyone and get any information, good or bad. The issue here is that traditional schools are falling behind. But education as an industry has really created some really unique startups. So you can go online now and take practically any Harvard or MIT class for free, just like you can learn how to change your tire, or in some cases, maybe you want to pleasure your spouse or significant other a little bit better. So what does this mean? It means that traditional schooling is falling behind. It's a tortoise and the hare story. You're not using the tools available to do the most interesting and innovative things, so people are losing interest. What students really want is instant feedback, and they want to have perceived value, so that what I am doing today, I can use tonight. In some cases, I heard the guy over here laugh. So in this case, I like the photo of Richard Branson. He wants to know that when he's doing something, my energy is having this effect on something right in front of me. Am I losing anybody yet? I hope not. To continue on, I'll recap. Number one, education is an idea evolution. We're basically building on top of what we did yesterday. What we do today was built on last week and on last year. And I thought that this was appropriate. If anybody's seen the new iPhone that launched today. Beyond that, number two, content is different than the delivery of that same content. For all the Justin Bieber fans in the room, maybe the guy who wanted to please his wife later tonight, the delivery is different than the content. So even though you can buy both of their CDs, one is, in my opinion, much better than the other. Next, technology is driving this change. Whether we like it or not, things are changing and they're completely outside of our control. You will soon have Twitter on your refrigerator door. True story. And last, students in today's economy want instant feedback on everything. They want to know what they're doing today, how they can change it this afternoon, and then how they can submit that later tonight so that later tonight they can please their spouse. Now, I will say, last slide, I started a company, was funded in June, that helps bring a couple of these ideas together. So if you're anybody in the city and you are interested in education or technology and startups, feel free to find me. I'd love to talk to you about it. Thanks.